VCR Redux will begin in T-5 minutes.
What the fart is VCR Redux?
It's the show where we take movies from the VCR era and bring them back to today.
How do we do that?
Well, we start by talking about a VHS classic, and usually you'll say something like,
I haven't been this uncomfortable since I watched Meatballs 4, Meatballs to the Rescue with my parents. Oh yeah, or you'll say something stupid like,
I wish we lived in a world where the Garbage Pail Kids made as many movies as the Muppets.
but I know you'll always see it through with a positive attitude.
I hate this movie, I hate being here, I hate all of this. Oh, Jamie Kennedy. Oh, well, shit. Well, let's go for this.
He was in Son of Mask. This is genius.
I am not a gamer. I'd rather read books.
Ian's like the old lady that's like, I got video game monsters, I got movie monsters in here.
As long as we respect the passion and the artistry that went into these films.
You know, obviously they took this movie, it's 93, right? You're like, what do you want to see in your Mario movie? And they're like, oh, we want it to be grim, we want a lot of death, we want tits and ass.
Oh, and then we start the pitch ideas with modern day sequels like
Weekend at Bernie's 3, Cocaine Mountain.
Sometimes we take it kind of seriously.
I'll watch a Paul Verhoeven alien movie.
oh my gosh, that alien will have more vaginas than anything you've ever seen in your life. Sometimes this Hawaiian shirted fool will pitch something stupid like,
I would take out the virtual reality stuff and just have it be about Jeff Fahey mowing the lawn.
Sometimes the best pitches come from the live chat.
Alex Bonafonte also pitches Grand Theft Starfighter Vice Galaxy.
wait, I thought I had the best pitches.
And what happens at the end of the movie? The ultimate fart. The fart that the warmth goes like all the way down to your socks.
The only rules are, there are no rules. Sometimes we cross over franchises.
Only the truck from Tango and Cash can kill Christine.
And sometimes we travel back in time.
Like 1995 is missing a good Universal Soldier sequel.
But you never know what we're gonna pitch next.
What do you want? Do you want Daniel Stern behind like a muzzled mask? Like,
We all know it should be Pesci behind the mask, and like underneath the mask, you should hear him going like fritter, 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 fritter.
you are so proud of yourself for that one. I can't stand you.
I would also love to see a Charles Bronson version of It's a Wonderful Life.
What?
Direct to DVD.
If you made a shot-for-shot remake of Scarface with Goofy as Al Pacino, it would be amazing. Gosh, you need me to be the bad guy.
It's like the worst 1987 Disney movie Disney ever made. Schlongo, directed by Jim Wynorski.
Like, I would watch a whole bowl of that.
Do the John Holmes story. Add a comedy spin to it.
Wow, the Wonderland murders are so funny.
I'd watch it on my mobile.
Something happens and he goes into a coma. He gets like, hit by a car or something. I know this is dark, but like, bear with me. He's got to go on.
Did you just go like Hard to Kill with Ferris Bueller?
I'd watch it on my iPad.
If you want to just like throw in the kitchen sink, I mean, it all works. Like Alien versus Predator versus RoboCop, like if that works. Alien versus Predator versus Terminator, that works.
Alien versus Predator versus Ernest, that works.
That works.
I respect everything you just said. I need David Silver and Terry Silver and the Sloan family all learning the Quicksilver, but they're doing it in Breakin' 3 Hydraulic Boogaloo. And it's underwater. It's gonna be incredible. Eat your fucking shit out, James Cameron. I got the underwater movie you can't touch.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life.
Mr. Toxie Goes to Washington.
My ass would be in the theater tomorrow.
If Harley Quinn gets 7 movies, then Tank Girl should get at least 70.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I mean, why should we even bother with Look Who's Talking when Air Bud is soaring to new highs?
All I know is I want Danny McBride.
I'd want him doing anything other than writing Halloween movies, honestly. Anything that keeps him away from that fucking job, I'm for it.
Just let him talk out of his butt. I don't care how he does it.
I'd rather not.
Austin Powers doing the Macarena.
That would be the opening credits. Come on.
But we have not yet had Die Hard on a half pipe. What if John McClane Jr. was a pro skateboarder and also an avid machine gun enthusiast? Skate or Die Hard.
What up, virtual people? Welcome to the 134th episode of VCR Redux, where we take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2024. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always by my co-host with the most, film professor Ian Klink.
How are you doing, everybody?
And the third leg of our VCR tripod himself. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. Mac Daddy Mickey Torres is Mick back on the show.
What's up, everyone?
And rounding out this righteous crew, Street Fighter Tournament Edition champion Steven Zangief Anderson is back on the show.
Yes, it's good to be back.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming back on, guys. We are here today to drink margaritas with Julie Brown, book an appointment with Dr. Love, and ditch the hero to dance with a zero, because this world needs Earth Girls Are Easy too, and we're here to give it to you. But before we can cue up a cameo from Angeline, we got to talk about how Earth Girls Are Easy came into our lives and what we love about it. And of course, that goes double for all you at home watching, everyone watching the live chat. Was it Love at First Laserdisc, Vital VHS? Hit us up in the chat and let us know how Earth Girls Are Easy came into your lives. So, Steve, when did you first get Earth Girled?
And I was thinking about this today for you, buddy, but I really have no idea. I'm going to guess, though. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that once there were a couple of actors back in the day when we were younger that once Jim Carrey put out Ace Ventura, I'm pretty sure I went back and tried to find things that Jim Carrey might have been in beforehand, like anything that he was in. Like, I would watch, which wasn't much, Once Bitten, Duck Factory.
Okay, so this came about in that
I think
era.
so.
I get you.
I want to say, yeah.
Watch Rubber
But,
Fake.
I love
What's
one
up?
of my favorite things. I'm gonna already get us off track here, but you mentioned Once Bitten, which we have to do on a future episode of VCR Redux.
Oh, yeah.
And the perfect title is right there: Once Bitten, Twice Shy.
Yes.
But
And you have to
That
have
was
Great
the
White
episode
do
right
the
there.
soundtrack.
That's all we need.
There you go.
We don't need to go.
But no, we need more because Lauren Hutton deserves our respect, as does Mickey's girl. What's the girlfriend's name? I know you know her name.
Courtney
Robin
Cox.
Quigley. Was Robin Quigley or like
No, Karen
Robin's the
something.
girl.
The girlfriend. What's the girlfriend? The actress who plays the girlfriend. I know you know her.
Courtney Cox, wasn't it?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Courtney
it
Cox.
was.
No, it's
It was
not.
No.
It's like Karen Kopp something.
Oh.
This is great episode already.
We were off the rails so quick.
We're off the fucking rails really, really quick.
Karen
Mickey's-
Hopkins.
There you
I
go.
was so
Coppins.
goddamn close. How did you not know that? You've
Well,
talked
where's
to me
Courtney
about
Karen
it
Cox
before.
on that.
Yeah, wait.
Karen Coppins.
What am I thinking of too with Courtney Cox?
Yeah, like isn't
Ace
it-
Ventura.
Yes, but they were.
Oh, right.
Wasn't she in the vampire movie in the 80s though?
No, he just said her name. It's Karen Coppins.
No,
Thank
she
you.
was in
Welcome.
Masters of the Universe.
That's right.
Courtney Cox
That's-
was in Masters of the Universe.
Oh, yeah,
And we did do an episode on that. So if you really need
I
more
watched
Masters of
it
the
once,
Universe in your life, scroll on back. But
Just like,
the
subscribe,
people-
and follow.
Like subscribe.
We don't know what
hit
the
like
hell
and
we're talking
subscribe
about.
every time. So Mickey, when did you first get Earth Girl?
Oh, this movie was a total HBO, but I'm confused on when I saw it because obviously the premise is like like Julie Brown. So like I loved Julie Brown from like the little bit of MTV that I saw and everything like that, or like at the time. But then
Oh, yeah,
like
who
I
doesn't
don't
love
know
Julie
if
Brown?
I saw it like during, because this is 1988. I probably would have seen it around that time, but I'm not quite sure. But I seem like some reason I feel like I saw this and Beach Babes from Beyond at the same time.
Not beach.
Oh wow.
Well,
I'm starting
Like-
to have a theory here, a couple theories. One, this is a Mick date, and it's a traumatic event that you blocked
Yeah.
from your Mick memory files.
No,
Two,
this was a
Beach babes from.
I'm starting to
ahead.
think that this movie, and I love Beach Babes from Beyond. That's a great
I
poster,
love
by the
Beach
way.
babes from Beyond, but
It's a fantastic piece of cover art right there. But
Mhm.
I also starting to develop this theory that Earth Girls Are Easy is like, it's like the ancient scrolls, like the ancient texts that was like handed down from above somehow, this mysterious force, and no one can even remember maybe how they initially discovered it, but there's just magic. It lives inside us always, and it's always been there, and maybe that's why no
Yeah.
one is going to
I
remember. I
feel
don't know,
like- and
Ian.
it was definitely a late night movie too.
Ian, do you remember the first time you got Earth Girls Are Easied?
oh, that's so gross. Yeah, no, so this played on HBO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
of course.
It was an
Everything released from 1980
Well,
to 99.
now, Chris, I'm going to call you out on that because not everything was always on HBO. There was a lot of things that
Wow.
you discovered at the mom and pop video store that was not on HBO. So
Okay, everything that got a theatrical fucking release though.
now
Eventually.
everything else is on USA Up All Night.
Well, and all
Or
the
Showtime or
Emmanuels
Cinemax.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that too.
so-
Didn't
No,
have-
I distinctly remember, and it's going to be weird, but for anybody who knows the movie well, that I remember flipping through the channel on HBO, and I'm like, what year did this come out? 88.
88.
So must have been like 89. Like, right? I'm younger. I'm flipping through, and it's on HBO. And it was the dream sequence. The dream sequence.
Nightmare
Yeah.
nightmare scene.
Yeah.
I love that nightmare sequence.
Yeah.
But
That's not a good depiction
but it was so weird. I very vividly remember watching that and being so confused as to what this was.
Oh, yeah.
But it was
this came in on that.
Yeah.
This is a weird, confusing movie. Yeah.
Well, it was, but like I watched that, but I didn't watch the whole movie. Like I just remember watching that, and then fast forward a few years, and my sister rented this movie, and she was because you go to the video store, I got probably like Blood Fist 5, and she got Earth Girls Are Easy, so she got to go first. So we watched Earth Girls Are Easy, and as I'm watching it, there was this weird dream sequence. I'm like, oh, this is the movie. Okay. But I think it was the same boat though, of like In Living Color had come on already. So I'm sitting there going, now, and we've talked about this before. You know how certain actors will be in a movie like that's the movie for that actor. This is the movie.
Okay.
For me, well, Jeff Goldblum, it was Vibes with Cyndi Lauper and Peter Falk.
Sure.
Very similar.
I always was like, oh, that's the Vibes guy.
Yeah.
No matter what he was in, it wasn't The Fly, it wasn't The Big Chill, it wasn't Jurassic Park. It's literally I'm watching Jurassic Park and I'm like, it's the Vibes guy.
That's really funny. That's weird. Yeah, you're the only person who
probably the only person who even knows what Vibes are. But I'm watching it going like, oh, that's the Vibes guy. Oh, and that's the In Living Color guys. That's Fire Marshal Bill and Homie the Clown. Like, what are they doing in this movie? Because when you're a kid, concept of time doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Right. So that's what. But then the dream sequence came on, and I was just like, oh, I remember this, and so
that dream sequence will stick with you.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I still
sure.
I can hear that music, and it's the three-eyed alien. That picture. When Chris always said, because let me tell you, folks, Chris Stiles. This is Chris Stiles' movie. This man is obsessed with this movie. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. I guess, yeah. I mean, low-key obsessed, whatever you want to say.
Anyway, every time you say it, all I can think the three-eyed alien pops in my head.
Well, I could explain why I love this movie a little bit, but I do, I want to get to the live chat before I do that. And I also just want to kind of piggyback on what you were saying. This movie is kind of like a big sister movie to me. Like, I was born in 84. So I was like maybe a hair young to have seen it at the box office in 88.
Yeah, you're 4 years old.
I also can't really remember the first time I watched it, although I could take a very educated guess. But I can very distinctly remember the first time I saw a trailer at the beginning of a VHS tape. And this was like the days where like, someone's mom would put in the tape and like, they didn't even think to like fast forward to the previews or anything like that. And it must have been a Vestron movie, whatever we were watching, to have an Earth Girls Are Easy, trailer. And I don't remember what the fuck we watched, but I do remember very specifically everyone in the room. It was this kid's like sleepover birthday party. And everyone in the room was like, whoa, that movie looks awesome. And then the mom turns around and goes, oh yeah, like, his sister rented that or whatever. Like, yeah, it's pretty cute. Like, not bad. And I remember like, okay, this movie's on my radar. I gotta check this out. This looks great. So I honestly don't think I saw it until years later, but I do remember my low-key obsession with this film did start in middle school. But before I get to that, the live chat as well. I see we got Angie Saunders in there, Lex Luthor, Miyagi-Do Forever, Monica Thyman, Whiskey 41, Mikey Riffraff, and MK2 back in the chat so far. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Angie Saunders, cause I'm a blonde, BLOND. Says, I go to Finland. I actually love this movie. VHS for me, but I've seen it as many times as you weasel dick. That is one of the great lines of this movie. And I'm actually surprised didn't become more of a common insult. Weasel dick is in like the 80s vocab of like boffing and like words that like you just can't even really say post 1989. Also in the chat, Whiskey 401, the great Alex Bonafonte says he has not seen it as an adult. Well, I hope you saw it as a child and lived in a world of pure fun and imagination like the rest of us. Kyle Camper says, I have never seen this movie. What else is new? Well, hopefully we can put you on the path today, MK. Miyagi-Do Forever says, I rented it at 150p a night from a video store. $1.50 a night, I think is what they meant, from a video store.
You guys will be right back.
Oh, and Ian is out. Well, then I guess it's time.
I gotta do something real quick. Sorry.
Well, then I guess it's time.
Tell your story, but I love that you know, like we're seeing the screenshot now of like, you know, the actual cover, and it says an out of this world, down to earth romantic comedy, and I never took this as a romantic comedy.
Well, so
oh,
Chris, you go ahead, and then I wanna get onto something, but you go ahead and finish out what you thought you were saying.
So I remember being low-key obsessed with this movie in middle school, and maybe I had seen it before then, but like it wasn't. And Steve went to like, you know, Steve was in the same school as me for 2 years in middle school, so he remembers like in like 7th grade, I was just like, you know what, the 80s are better than what we're living in right now. Like the 90s are kind of like, you know, they're just not as cool as the 80s. In hindsight, now the 90s are like, you have nostalgia for that too, but I was an 80s kid, and so like I was sort of reconsuming every piece of 80s pop culture I could get my hands on, and this movie became one of them. And this is like such an embarrassing tell of the era, but I used to I was so obsessed with movie soundtracks that I used to dub songs that like I could only find in a movie onto my mini disc player, and like I would have like the Revenge of the Nerds song, and I would have like some of the songs from this movie, like, you know, cause I'm a blonde, BLOND.
It's a good song.
It's a great song, and it's interesting watching this movie now. I never really thought, even when I would watch it maybe in my 20s, I never really thought to like pick it apart like we kind of do on a VCR Redux. And I watched it, you know, with Steve the other night to kind of keep it fresh, and I was so excited when this Blu-ray came out. First, I got to say this, and the movie looks incredible in scope, and it's like wonderful. I love it. But it's interesting seeing, like, for the first time, I saw potential in this movie that, like, wow, this could have been so much more. I love it for what it is, but I feel like this literally was on the cusp of being the greatest girl movie of the 80s. Like, better than True Beverly Hills, better than Beaches, better than Fast Times. Like, this movie could have been better than all of them.
This movie is such a perfect time capsule of you know, LA in the 1980s. It's so 80s. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
But you're right though, Chris. Going back at it with a critical eye at this point, it dawned on me before we were watching it that I couldn't remember. From what I remember of this movie, I remember if you asked me how it started, I would say it started with them crashing into her pool. And if you asked me how it ended, I'd say, oh, I don't remember how it fucking ended, to be honest with you. And I've seen it a bunch of times. The first 20 minutes or so are kind of a little, you know, a little bleak. You know, the middle chunk of this movie is awesome. And the very end, the very ending. And the only other thing that like dawned on me while watching it is that it's still, and let me just prelude saying that I do really love this movie. I think it's great, but it really doesn't know what it wants to be. I think it doesn't know if it wants to be like a schlocky sci-fi movie, or if it wants to be a romantic comedy, or if it wants to be, touching on what you said, Mickey, if it wants to be a musical,
or if it wants to be a turn-to-camera musical. And I feel like
this movie also reminds me a lot of Back to the Beach.
Okay,
I
I
can
can
see
see
that,
that for
yeah.
sure.
Like I always I lump that in it too because it's very much like in that vein too, where you know you have
Got a
some
very
scenes and then you
yeah. It's got an eye towards 60s design too. There's a lot of like
Yeah, I mean
nods,
it's
you know.
it's honoring the Roger Cormans. It's honoring the AIP, you know,
Yeah.
being alien pictures of the fit. I mean that's what
Yeah.
it's doing,
Like the woman
homage.
with the beehive hairdo and shit
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that. There's a lot of like
it's
great little
super
touches.
schlock on
and
purpose.
you got the
Yeah.
Jerry Lewis on the TV, and I almost feel like I mean like
Wow,
that to
babe.
me it's like who came up with that, and like for some reason I almost feel that that was like Jim Carrey just saying like something like I would if somebody were to tell me that you know what Jim Carrey just had this idea for us to like have like Jerry Lewis on the TV or something like that, I would have said like yeah you're right, he would have done it because that's Jim Carrey. Like I think when I think of Jim Carrey, like some of the things that Jim Carrey like has said in his interviews, and also just who he talks about is the Jerry Lewises, the Don Knotts, the Tim Conways, the stuff like that. Like those are his inspiration.
Well, this movie definitely pulls a shitload of different inspirations from different genres and weird, pop culture, like yeah,
Definitely.
like corners of Hollywood and media and whatever.
Well,
It's an all-you-can-eat buffet of everything that was great.
Well, it was supposed to be a music, like long. I mean, it was supposed to be a lot more as a musical. From
Was it?
watch the special features, the director was going to have a few more numbers, but it just.
So,
the
I was
chaos-
thinking this when I rewatched it. Like there's the musical numbers are fine. The Because I'm a Blonde one is amazing though.
Yeah, and the
like,
other ones
if
kinda
the
meh,
other ones
no.
had been like sort of up to that level, like there's 7 movies in here I would watch, right? I would totally watch like just like an MTV generation like rom-com sort of like yuppie comedy, turned on its head type of thing. I would, the love story between Gina Davis and Charles Rocket or whatever. I would watch the like homage to everything all in a movie, like the Jim Carrey, Jerry Lee Lewis, all that stuff. I would watch the fucking Alien movie just about them. Like and ultimately what I was thinking when I watched this, and maybe this is like getting to be a little bit more just my personal tastes, but there's a version of this I think where instead of sort of being a love story centered around just Gina Davis, it's a little bit more of an adventure. And you have Gina Davis and Julie Brown, and they are so fantastic together. And I feel like you could have added a third, so then you have like these 3 girls and these 3 aliens, and like hijinks ensue. I think it
would have been way
really,
better.
really great.
Yeah,
And
that would have
like
been way better.
I think that's like the version of it that's like that was the definitive girl movie of the 80s. And it's like a little bit of modern girls in there. They're going to, and these guys, you make them a little bit more personality based, whereas like I feel like Mickey, maybe you were
Jeff
saying maybe
Goldblum's
they
the
just
only one that has a personality, really.
but they're all sort of just exaggerated versions of themselves. Like Jim Carrey, like, oh, he's like a chameleon mimic. He does that's what he does. He can make his face look or sound like, whatever.
They could have
Damon
fleshed him
Wayans,
out
I guess he's a really good dancer because he dances his fucking ass off in this
They
movie.
could have fleshed
And I
those
gotta
two
say,
guys out a little more.
one of the greatest dance scenes ever, though. This movie, like, well
But
deserving.
that definitely was not him dancing. All for the most part, like he was
You don't think
dancing a
so?
little bit, but like there was another guy that was obviously dancing, like in there. You could see it.
Oh, I didn't catch
That dude, though, the dude he has the dance off with is like one of the coolest mystery dudes ever. He's like part
Like,
Morris Day, part Bobby
that guy's
Brown.
like, stop stealing my moves, and I'm sitting there like, damn, man, this is so cool. My man's
that dude, like that dude's got a fucking story. That dude looks like a little smidge of Carl Weathers in this guy. Like that dude's got some
old
stories.
school. That's old school when like you did have like dance competitions in the clubs and stuff like that. Like literally, like that's what you had. Like not to go off on a tangent, a little side story. I mean, that's basically how like the New Power Generation, Prince's band, became to be. Part of that group was 3 guys that were that he saw dancing in a Minneapolis club, and he brought them into the band.
Get the fuck out of here! I didn't know that.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's great. That's great.
That is really cool. That's so cool. I got transfixed and lost my whole point. We were talking about
Chris,
those girls are easy.
Chris, you brought up a good point when we were watching it though, is that this movie is so overwhelmingly 80s and so like There's
yeah.
just so much going on that you
Yeah.
don't even realize how ridiculous it is that in that scene where they're at that dance club, 2 minutes later, Jeff Goldblum follows Gina Davis outside, and there's a baby grand piano just on a balcony with a guy.
Yeah.
With a
You
guy
don't
just
question it because
playing-
it's the 80s
yeah,
and it's
playing
fucking,
classical
I
piano.
love it.
Yep,
I
And you don't
love
question the
it.
fact that he goes, she goes like, "Oh, I won an MTV like competition where like
Oh, yeah.
I
We
get to
got
hang
the
with the
band,
band."
too. These guys
And
are
I'm like, I
MTV
remember
scum.
these things. I remember these things. I think the Goo Goo Dolls was like one of them later on. Like like you could win
Oh
a
my God.
weekend with the Goo Goo Dolls and shit
What
like
the
that.
fuck would you do for a weekend with the Goo Goo Dolls?
I mean like I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Play
I don't know
Iris.
either.
I also-
Play Iris
Yeah,
again.
play it again.
I will
Play
say
Iris
though,
again.
Steve, you're not ready.
I will say though, and I know, we're not really, we shouldn't really be pitching yet, but I will say I do think there is another version of this movie that exists though, because of Ian's obsession with gas station pizza. I think there's like some, made for maybe Times Square version of this movie where it's like gas station girls are easy, and it's like all these 3 girls, like I said, and they get 3 aliens, but like it's just they work at a gas station, and that's they're the opposite of like LA glam. They work at like a gas station in Alabama.
Well, they robbed a gas station.
Can you
That is
can
true.
you guys think of
you
another-
gotta oh, I'm sorry.
I was
What?
gonna say, can you guys think of another alien movie that came out in this decade, or
Well,
really
Alien
sad
from LA.
that's
Yeah.
such low stakes? Like this
I mean, there
movie
was
That
a-
is
so
the stakes are low.
The
yeah.
movie has literally like no. It's just about Gina Davis's arc overcoming their terrible.
I mean, there was a
potential
ton
marriage.
there was a ton of movies that
yeah, there was a lot.
I mean, there's Morons in Space. There was Dumb and what?
Are you
there
talking
was-
about They Came from Outer Space? Is that what you're talking about? Is a TV show
No.
with Dean Cameron
Morons
and
in
Stuart Bracken?
Space.
No, there's a movie. It was a movie called Morons from Outer
Isn't it called Idiots from Outer Space?
Oh, Morons from Outer
It
Space.
is. Oh, you're right. It is Morons from Outer Space.
There's
know.
that. There was it's slapstick encounters of the third kind. It actually has Jerry Lewis in it. I mean, there was attempts to
Yeah.
do bad science fiction movies. It's just I think they did this one the best, probably because it is a kitchen sink movie. I mean,
It really is. Yeah.
throw everything. I mean, Earth Girls Are Easy. They could have picked one lane, but because they picked so many lanes, I mean, it's the 405 of 80s movies. I mean, it
And
you
like,
know,
how did?
Yeah,
how do
that's
you, like,
true. I
come
mean,
up
it's
with,
even
like,
got Angeline in there. I mean, that is incredible. I love Angeline, and I know if Bobby ever watches
yeah.
this episode, he's gonna be like, "Yes, an Angeline reference." And honestly, that's
And
who
you
I
got
would have
Michael
made the third
McKean?
girl. And like,
Michael
honestly,
McKean.
I would have made the third girl Angeline. So you would have had Angeline, Julie Brown, and Gina Davis. And no, seriously,
see
it would
that.
have been.
Can Angeline
nuts.
act?
I don't think it really matters. Like she's such a
Oh.
weird, like she wouldn't even have to speak that much if she couldn't act. Like she's just such a fucking presence. Like people were so obsessed with Angeline, and it would have been the definitive LA 80s movie, the definitive 80s girl movie. I still
think
think
when I
it's
first
incredible,
saw
and
her,
it's on the Mount Rushmore of 80s like girl flicks. You know what I mean? Like this movie is a lot more than Teen Witch to me, and I love Teen Witch, but
Oh no.
I love Teen Witch. I love Teen
Ah.
Witch, but to me, Earth Girls Are Easy is over Teen Witch.
well,
for
there's
sure.
two things that I love about this movie, and one is that we don't give him enough credit, and I think it's because of his SNL legacy. But Charles Rocket, Charles Rocket.
Yeah, I love Charles
Yeah.
Rocket.
That man was there in the 80s. He was
Yes.
in Space Invaders. He was, and again, he got fired. I mean, he's famous for being, in the SNL cast after the first ones, and he got fired because he said, he swore on air. And they fired Charles Rocket. But Charles Rocket in this is great. I mean, this is like,
Yeah, he plays this role perfectly.
because it is. I think that is Charles Rocket. I think Charles Rocket just showed up to work like, where do I go? Left, right? Okay, cool. That is Charles Rocket. The other one is that neighbor. The neighbor, the one that tries to like
Neighbor, yeah.
spy on her, that has the weird
Beehive.
Yeah.
beehive.
You know what character really hit me? This
I like
time
Michael
around or whatever
McKean.
Was the
Woody.
pool guy?
Yeah,
Michael
Woody,
McKean, yeah.
Yeah,
I think,
he was-
I agree.
He was
I
really
would
good in
even-
this.
I was thinking about it because you were loving it so much, as was I when we were watching it the other day. I was thinking about it, and this is a bold statement, but I dare say this may be my favorite Michael McKean performance ever. This may be his best performance ever. I loved him as Perry White on
you
Smallville,
traitor.
but
over
yeah,
I
Spinal
like him as
Tap.
Perry White. I like him as Perry White in Smallville, but Spinal Tap, man.
I would take
Spinal
this
Tap.
over Spinal Tap. I don't
Short
know. I
Circuit
think he
2.
really. I think he
Short
really
Circuit.
hits a home run with a role that is like not much. Most people just would have been like bodacious, but like
he
he
says
just
some funny shit in
brings
this
something
movie,
to it. He brings something extra to it. Like, like
But,
I was
like,
just robbed. Like they're out there right now. Like, oh man, my buddies
Truth
are
be
out
told-
there.
Truth be told, I don't really like. There's not a bad Michael McKean.
No, there is
performance,
not.
to me.
The man never hits a wrong note. But this just may be, to me, his finest performance, his finest hour. I don't know. I absolutely love it. I love those
Maybe
types
those
of characters.
90s fart movies, when he went all like serious with what's his name.
Yeah, I don't need any of that. Yeah, we don't need to acknowledge any of that. But it is time for us to figure out how the hell do you bring Earth Girls Are Easy back in 2024. So it's not just up to us, it's up to everyone in the chat and all you guys watching at home. Let us know what you do or don't want to see in Earth Girls Are Easy 2. How do you bring it back after all these years?
I'm gonna say it.
What?
Taylor
Say it.
Swift.
What?
that?
Say it again. Taylor Swift is what
Taylor
you said?
Swift.
What about her?
If you're gonna remake the movie, let's just say you go down the remake path,
Hmm.
put T Swizzle in it.
But
Yeah, the
we don't
movie's
know.
a piece of garbage. I'm just saying the movie, like,
We don't know if
Cats-
she
I
can
mean-
act either.
Cats was ahead of
Yeah.
its time. Cats, they waited. They brought it too soon in the Swift universe. All right. If they brought out Cats now, nobody would care. All those
So
teen words, they'd go and it wouldn't matter.
So you think that if Taylor Swift was going to introduce herself into cinema for the first time, she would do
Earth
it
Girls
with
Are
Earth
Easy.
Girls Are
But-
Easy too? Yeah.
But if she took it seriously, think about this. Gina Davis could have just showed up, right? She could have accepted the paycheck, walked to the left, tilted her head,
That's not what Gina
I'm doing-
Davis does, though.
I'm doing this for Jeff because he's my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. But she cares in this movie. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Of course they cared. I
Yeah.
think, they didn't
But-
neither one of them needed this movie. Like they were both in The Fly. The Fly was gigantic. Like they
what
didn't
I'm
need
saying,
to
like,
do
Yeah.
a movie
they
like this. They wanted to. They chose this as like their project. And that's what got the,
They could have just totally walked in, cut a silent fart, crop dusted
Yeah.
everything, and walked out.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to truth
They
be
don't.
told,
They
like
actually
I
really care,
ignored
and-
The Fly.
And
Yeah.
if
What's
Taylor
that?
Swift was in this and you made this a 2024 LA movie
Mm.
Ugh.
or Emma Stone, and I know La La
Okay.
Land was kind of that in a weird way, but to me, what I love about Earth Girls Are Easy is it is a movie about Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
pointed out, I mean, you're not wrong about being about LA. But you
No.
pointed out something that it was the most depressing part, the thought of bringing this back is just casting it. We don't really live in a movie star era anymore. So I don't blame you for wanting to be like, Taylor Swift, it's a hit.
No.
And like you always have
Zac
a very,
Efron would be like
you always have a very like business-minded bottom line approach.
I do. You
yeah.
put Taylor Swift in this movie as
See, now I think
yes.
finding the guys wouldn't be that hard. I think you would find some comedians and like two comedians and an actor, kind of like they did. I think,
hypothetically, if
You
you were
had
doing
Ryan
this as a
Gosling.
sequel, I mean, these
or you
three
could gender
guys,
flip it. Yeah, you could have
these
it
three
be
guys
yeah.
are still kicking,
Yeah.
and they all look great. Jeff
Oh,
Goldblum,
yes.
Jim Carrey, and Damon Wayans could totally come back and reprise these roles.
I
Like,
think,
I think
you can
they
have
could,
them.
but I don't think they're gonna like want to carry a movie like that. Jeff Goldblum
But
came back
also
to
you
Jurassic
have-
Park, and that was a disaster. So I don't think he's
I
gonna
mean-
want to be like, yeah, put it all on me. I'll be the lead, like at
I think they
60,
have-
whatever. Like
Maybe.
he'd be a cameo.
The
Like
thing that
they're-
gets
they're
me
the
is-
elder,
they
elder Trinity. Like
they pull a Ghostbusters, like the newer Ghostbusters.
No, they passed.
Three guys would be in there.
No.
But
Well, they have a baby.
they'd come out at the very end.
Mickey is I realize there are certain things that we all have things that we pitch a lot. you have pitched half-breed baby things and a lot of things. That is a thing.
Mutant
When it's an
babies.
option that's on the table, Mickey goes for it every time. Like
But
Gremlins that have a half-breed, like Congo, those are
Yeah.
half-breeds. Like Earth Girls Are Easy, they have a half-breed baby.
Because that's the
man.
thing. Like you like what happens? Like, like, look, I mean, she goes with him. I love you. They're gonna be like together. Obviously, they're gonna have kids. They're gonna
You
be
know what?
half breeds.
Again, this is where this movie kind of
She's not on Earth anymore. She can't take her birth control pills.
It kind of yeah, right. She didn't bring him with her.
Half breed while every time you say it, it's just popping in my head.
I think that ending would have been.
Half-breed.
I think that ending would have been a lot less like problematic possibly if they didn't have that dream sequence section in there too. Don't get me wrong. I think
Yeah.
I think it's great that she goes with him, and I think it's that dream sequence is awesome. But like
It's really
that kind
well
of
directed, but I mean that
Yeah.
is like
It
that is
kinda
the
throws
first
in
scene you would probably cut. Yeah.
it kind of throws
If
in
you
all
were-
these
yeah.
weird implications, and then she winds up
Yeah.
going off with him.
Yeah, like you're taking the
you
audience's
al-
mind and making them think of like dark things you don't want them to think about in a movie like
Yeah,
this. Like let
and
it be
you
light
also
and have
go, like,
fun with it, and
it- You also go, if she had this dream, this nightmare, whatever the case may be, and she wakes up and realizes she's right next to that dude that she's having a nightmare about, the alien, wouldn't she just be freaked out and be like, get out of here, whatever the case may be? But nah, she's
Yeah.
like, we're good.
I mean, if this movie
well,
was
they
written
kind of
better,
the logic, sort of does admittedly start to kind of go out the window a little bit in like the third act, where things just happen because they need
Oh,
to
the
happen,
logic stays in there when they're splicing up fruit in space. There's
all
logic.
right, yeah. This movie would, if it was better written, she would have gotten over the fiance and kicked him to the fucking curb at the end of it, and then she would have.
Well-
Jeff Goldblum would have went off, and she would have given him like a thankful goodbye for being, for helping her to get through this and realize where, that she was being such, that she could be on her own.
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, it's easy
2
to
weeks
say in
later, she finds
hindsight.
out she's pregnant.
Yes.
With his baby.
Oh, yeah.
It's
right.
easy to say that in hindsight. I mean, like, like I was saying, I would have had it be the three of them. I would have had it be Gina Davis, Julie Brown, and Angeline. They all work at a salon together. Something happens and it threatens the salon, and then these aliens crash in their pool, and they're all roommates as well, and adventure ensues. They save the universe, blah blah blah.
Right.
Like
Well,
that.
you could still have them you could still have them. I mean, like, look, obviously they have friends or family in their planet, whatever, like case may be. So you can still have them like doing that, and they come to Earth and they go to Julie Brown because Julie Brown was the one that made them into humans, basically, or whatever like that. So like, hey,
Yeah.
can you do that to our friends here so they can, move on with their lives, and then the hilarity ensues there. You got three new dudes.
Chris kind of said this earlier, and Mickey, you kind of saying that made me realize, like, there's a part of me that kind of wants a Tuong Fu. Like, I kind of want the three
Oh, yeah.
aliens to
Yeah.
crash land in the Midwest and just rock out of town.
Oh, make it like a road movie, like an alien.
Like almost. I don't know
yeah.
why that sounds kind of.
You know what? You said that, and I immediately went a different way with it. But hear me out. What if I don't mean to pander to like a community that I'm not necessarily a part of, but what if they landed wherever they landed, and the Tuong Fu factor of it is that it's three drag queens on Earth that like show them around and they fight with, and they like. And why the fuck couldn't you have a movie like that? It's not necessarily about like they're not trying to.
You get Taylor Swift in this movie and a couple of the RuPaul Drag Race contestants. Like that
Sold.
will sell out in minutes.
Well, I mean, like, I'll watch anything with Taylor Swift in it. I'm good with that, but I'm just telling you that I don't necessarily know if Earth Girls Are Easy too.
You just gave us a license to print money, Ian.
Listen. Look, you're gonna sell out. You sell out. I mean, like, and sell out big.
So yeah, like what if they were crashing into Earth? What if it was a new clan of dudes or whatever? They're crashing to Earth. Their spaceship goes wonky or whatever, and they have to get in a escape pod, and the escape pod goes down. And once they get down, whatever they are in the Midwest or wherever the fuck, they realize that they have to find that ship and make their way to it. And then it's just kind of like a road movie. And like you said, Chris, they run into either three drag queens, three women, three whatever, that help them at some point get to it. Then you can have like an
could
evil
have-
government.
What if it's their daughter? Look, what if we go with the girl thing and it's their daughters? And imagine
Yeah.
one of them is Kate McGinnon from SNL. Like
Sure.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
girl,
you know,
Kate McGinnon would crack me up. Like because I'm trying to compare like who's a Jim Carrey.
What if it's 3 alien women that land down now? That doesn't
Oh,
really make
okay.
sense. though, with
Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig. Kate
Ah, no,
McGinnon,
Kristen Wiig. Come
Back-
on.
Kristen Wiig, Kate McGinnon, and Leslie Jones.
wow,
Now,
you're really pitching the Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
cast.
What? I rewatched that movie a year ago with my daughter, and let me tell you,
They're all great in it. Like
that movie,
Yeah.
you know,
we didn't deserve that movie from those people because the world is full of jerks. Because they're hilarious. Leslie Jones
they are great.
alone makes
I would
that-
have been fine. I would have been totally fine getting another one of those every couple of years. Like I feel bad for Paul Feig or however you say his name, because like I feel like he really took the heat on that one more than anyone else. Like they were all still working, you know.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, they were, yeah.
But
That was
anyway,
you get the daughters, and they're trying to find their dads, which are Jeff Goldblum, Jim Carrey, and Damon Wayans. So it's a road movie, but like along the way, we kind of do what we did in the movie, where we're trying to like expose new ideas and they're
Oh, wait a minute. So it's about like these half breed looking for their alien fathers.
No,
Is that what
they're
you're
dad. They're
Yes.
free.
I know it's Mickey's favorite thing in the world.
But no,
Yeah,
they're from the
let's do
original.
it.
They're from the
Let's do
original
it.
planet. Like they had a family. Like then
Okay.
they don't have to have wives. It's enemy mine rules.
Okay.
So they lost their dads.
They lost their dads, and
It's
they're trying to-
Goldblum, Carey, and Wayans' daughters.
Yes. So
Now I get it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, all right, yeah, that makes
and
sense.
they come to the planet.
Yeah, but Goldblum's daughter is a half breed already.
Well, maybe she's
No,
not.
he's saying
as
it's from a
fir-
pre-existing marriage from before Gina Davis. It's
No,
Oh.
no, I don't want that.
So
I
if
want-
she is,
I
if it is,
want-
Mickey,
I
Mickey,
said-
violation of canon.
I said
So
it's
maybe-
enemy
No,
mine
that's not
rules.
how you do
All
the
right,
half
all right.
breeds. That's not how
I'll
you
give
do
you
half
guys. I'll
breeds.
give you
Enemy
guys a
mine
minute
rules.
to.
You have a baby on your own. You don't have to have a wife.
So it's
I'll give
easy
you guys-
enough. You make one of them not furry, like one of them more human looking with the other two, but they're still acting like, ridiculous aliens. And the one's a little more half and half, the one's has a little more human tendencies, whatever. And it becomes pretty obvious quickly that they're the colors of them or whatever, they're like yellow and red and human
Well,
looking.
To
And
me,
you're like, oh.
it's like
Mm.
there's a world that Gina Davis still visits her friend Julie Brown. So
No, maybe.
she could totally be with Wylock or whatever like that. That was her favorite from the thing. So just like they have a
Whiplock.
kid too.
Whiplock, yeah.
Whiplock or
Or
Whiplock.
Julie Brown,
Wylock,
but
Wylock,
Whiplock was Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Meathead.
Oh
Meathead.
God, not this again. Worst
Ted
thing
could
we
be
ever.
Meathead could be there. Oh yes, yes.
So all right.
Meathead.
Since we're in
No, there-
Meathead land,
that's the
it's time
Ted.
for me to go to
That's
the
the
live
Ted.
chat.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go to the live chat though.
Let's hear some real
in
pitches.
the live chat, I see Whiskey 41 with a pitch. His pitch: Earth males are stupid. 3 female aliens from the planet Who Cares from the planet Who Cares land on Earth with the intention to study human male mating patterns. They
Yes.
soon discover the shallow measures human men will go to conquer females, from exotic cars to anabolic steroids to unfulfilling, well-paying jobs to male enhancement and hair replacement. Earthmen will burn through vast resources in order to impress a potential mate, and regret it all the moment matrimony forces them to share said resources. Jennifer Lawrence, Regina King, and Kristen Wiig star. That is a really time-bending cast right there. I love it
Gina
though.
King. I love
Yeah,
it.
you need a fucking time machine to make this cast all ride. But
all
I
right.
love that. What else?
I
we
thought
have in
like the
cast?
girls like going by Ian, like you can have Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, and Selena Gomez.
There you go.
Well,
See, that-
Whiskey
that-
41
I'll,
pitches in the chat.
I'll buy that cast. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can do that one. Selena Gomez is hilarious in that. Only
Murders in the building. Yeah, it's great.
He's hilarious. So absolutely, why not? Those are good name cells.
Also, Whiskey 41 pitches Jeff Goldblum stars in Earth. Golden Girls are easy. I would totally watch that. Actually, that's it. I think Whiskey 41 just nailed it.
Oh,
Yeah, like that's who they land. Those are the three friends. It's fucking Blanche, fucking
What you want, Cocoon?
Dorothy.
Go figure. Go figure. Chris would sell it on a mashup idea.
Oh my God, no,
Yeah.
that's so great. Yeah, it's Cocoon. Yeah, no, but it's they
Golden
make them
Girls
they
are
make
easy.
these old ladies young and horny again. So they go out looking for old veterans to dance with at
Technically,
the
there was
VFW hall.
only one Golden Girl that was easy. Technically,
Blanche.
Thank
They,
you
so they
for-
turn
thank you
them
for
all
being
into
a
Blanche.
friend.
You're
Yeah.
pitching Cocoon.
Really?
No. What I'm pitching is better than Cocoon. It's
Cocoon Return.
Yeah.
No, I'm pitching Cocoon Tang. All right.
Cocoony Tang.
The Cocoon Tang Crossroads.
Cocoon Tang.
And because I love to always throw this in, why not throw in some cocaine?
That's LA. That's
LA. I mean, you want it to be an
That's how
80s
Earth
LA
Girls
movie.
Are Easy was made, Chris.
That's
Yeah,
the only thing you were missing from this movie. You didn't have a scene where they were in the club and they did cocaine.
Oh, one of them accidentally. Yeah, you're right. That's weird. You would think that one of them would like eat
Jim
a whole
Carrey would have been the
eight ball or
one.
something. Yeah, Jim Carrey would have shoved it in his
would have been the
face,
one.
thrown
Oh
it in
God,
his own
yeah.
face.
So that's the edgier version, the R-rated version of this, like the going for it all. I would have fucking watched that because there was more of the raunchy sex comedies at the beginning of the 80s than at the end. Like the latter half of the 80s needs its definitive sex comedy, and I feel like it doesn't have it. It's very
this
fragmented. There's a lot of good ones. I don't know if there's one that's like this is the definitive late 80s raunchy comedy.
This one really
unless
felt
Ian,
like
you want to correct me?
No, I mean, really, by the time you got to 85, Porky's Revenge, all that stuff.
What about Class?
It really died.
Class was 83.
Class was 83.
Class.
I mean, like 85, really, that was about it. And to be honest, what really took over, in the 80s was really just dramas. I mean, late 80s was a lot of drama.
When was
I would say horror though, because dramas aren't really for the
the
teen
slasher.
audience,
I mean, the slasher. As far as genre
slashers,
goes,
yeah.
I mean, that would by 85 we're doing Jason and Freddy Krueger and and it was the era of Reagan. So what really you had, those sex comedies, from Porky's to Up the Creek and all that. Really, you get those from the 70s. Kind of the last hurrah of the 70s, free loving, free, everybody Wang Chung tonight. But then Reagan took over.
What was Zapped? When was that?
I just said Zapped. Yeah. Nobody answered me.
Yeah, Zapped was early 80s. I'm sorry.
It was early 80s. This movie walks the line on that though, because like you could tell they wanted to go there with it, between the musical number and like at one point Gina Davis is wearing some kind of wet t-shirt. She might as well not be wearing anything. And then the dream sequence, I think the doctor
this is also
fiance is with like a
four-breasted. The
Yeah.
PG-13 rating came about, so movie studios were trying to, they were trying to get PG-13. R rating, it was just R-rated movies were gone, really.
I can't imagine that this made. Does anybody know how this did box office wise when it came out?
Oh, tanked. It was
Did
not.
it?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty hefty loss for Vestron. In fact, I think it was maybe one of Vestron's like final theatrical releases even.
Really?
They pushed it. They did everything they could. They had Julie Brown. They had a big premiere. Angeline was there. Like all these it was a big LA event. Every famous person came to the premiere of this movie. Like that happens a lot though. It doesn't necessarily mean the movie's going to be a hit,
Julie Brown wrote this, right?
Yeah. Her and her writing partner at the time, I can't remember name off the top of my head, but I feel
which is definitely why she has to be involved in the sequel somehow. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
For sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Julie Brown is.
It's her IP basically.
That's what I'm saying. Like they crash land to find her, and she's along the journey to get them to find mom and dad. I mean,
it made 3.9 million.
No, that's nothing. Wow.
That was the ad.
Well, it probably cost 7 or 8, something like that. I would guess maybe 6.
What if they landed? Sorry, just a thought. What if they landed somewhere and everybody keeps talking about it in this like whatever lower California kind of Dust Bowl town or whatever, these aliens or whatever. It gets back to Julie Brown and she's like,
well, the neighbor has
she believes it, and so she goes to find them. So like half of it is her, you know what I mean? Like Julie Brown trucking her way to like find these aliens.
Oh, I'm into that. I like
And then
that.
and then help them get their ship back, which has been taken over by government officials. At
Oh,
some
so
kind of
like this was written by Julie Brown, Charlie Coffey, and Terrence E. McNally.
Right on.
Okay.
So it's probably I'm guessing one of those guys is a studio rewrite at a certain point. And also I think Julie Brown wrote it initially, with the idea that she would star in it. But then like as they kept writing, the budget got bigger and it was like, all right, we need an established actor
like 10.9
to
million.
warrant this budget. What's that?
10.9 million was the budget and they only made 3.9.
11 million. Well, you know what? Sometimes you gotta spend money to make a classic.
I would argue choosing this after The Fly, probably not the greatest of moves for Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum.
But you know what? To their credit, like what else got sent to them that year? You know, 88 wasn't like 89. You know, it wasn't the year of bangers like 89 was. 88 was kind of like you know, kind of a SAG year for, you know, sort of like I love every year of the 80s, but
when was Beetlejuice?
88.
Beetlejuice was 88. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But hey, you lost that one to Michael Keaton, so you know what are you gonna do?
Yeah, well.
Do you want to play
but, I mean,
Lydia's dad?
Gina Davis
that's
at least
a dead duck role.
She made it out of this movie with another, you know, with a hit later.
I mean, this movie certainly didn't corrupt, like interrupt anybody's trajectory career wise. Coming out of
this. Within minutes, Damon Wayans, Jim Carrey, Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, all dominant at like what they're doing.
Well, Gina Davis won the Academy Award the following year.
Oh, it was like 2 years later, 4 years
for
later.
The Accidental Tourist, she won Best Supporting Actor. So,
Accidental Tourist.
They all the movie didn't hurt their careers, and in fact, I'd argue that it's because of this movie that's why Jim Carrey ended up on
In Living Color. Well, I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Well, he said
the fact that he was friends with the Wayne brothers.
I acted with this guy in this movie. Bring him, bring him on. Like,
Yeah.
Well, there are
all comedians together though.
So there are a few more pitches in the chat. There was, and I just lost them. Of course, the screen moves right at the worst time for me. Dustin Nino says, after the Golden Girls are easy, Dustin Nino says, the sequel takes place in LA in the 80s and call it Earth Girls are Easy E. Follows a bunch of girls who are all Easy E and they form their own pioneering rap group. I do love Easy E. I'm a West Coast rap fan. I'm not going to lie. I love it all, but especially the West Coast stuff. And of course, Alex Bonafonte keeping a streak alive for a surprisingly absent Sean Gold. Whiskey 41's pitch, Earth Girls are airborne. That is perfect. I'm just saying that is title alone, one of the best title pitches I think we've had on the show. Earth Girls are airborne.
Like they look.
That's the 90s sequel. Oh my God. If they did a sequel, okay. I have to cast this out now. If they did a sequel in the 90s, it would have been rollerblading. And who would the three girls have been? It would have been who was on My So-Called Life? Who was the girl on that?
Claire Danes?
Claire Danes. It would have been Claire Danes, probably. Who else would like
or
the 90s?
Or the
Jennifer
AJ,
Love Hewitt.
the AJ girl. The best friend in My So-Called Life? AJ.
No, the main girl, Claire Danes. So it would have been
Claire
like
Danes, Jennifer Love Hewitt, and Rachel Lee Cook. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe.
Rachel Lee.
Sign me up.
So,
right?
Cast them now. Cast them now.
Hey, Cook. Come on.
Yeah.
How do you become the prom queen?
You're beautiful, Ian. Without those glasses. Let your hair down. Take off those glasses.
Oh my God, she's got paint on her overalls. Gross. So another great pitch. Oh, those are a couple of great pitches in the chat right now. Someone Serenity Q26 is coming in with a couple of great pitches. Serenity says, nah, get rid of the drag queens and just make it gay. Earth girls are easy too. The three aliens were too fabulous to be straight in my gay tween eyes. I love that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, I'm 100% there for that. Like 1000%. Just give me that version. She also pitches, though, if you do it with three girls, to go with Queen Latifah, Tina Fey, and Amy Poehler. I love that.
That's great.
Tina Fey equal to Jeff Goldblum. That I would buy that. But
So
put in Jones, not Queen Latifah.
Serenity
I
also
think
says throwing a
more
few drops of
Leslie
angel
Jones,
dust and
that's
make it a
all.
religious film for middle America audience. Face blue smiling Oz zapped. Love me a telekinetic film. Yeah, there could have been some more alien towers. I think they filmed more of that stuff and it got cut out. There's a great deleted scene on the Blu-ray of Jim Carrey reaching really far with like his arm stretch Armstronging to like a fast food thing, and they show it with the tongue. But there's like this implication, like, can you stretch? Can every part of your body stretch like that? And then Jeff Goldblum's like, yes, of course.
They needed the tongue thing because this is the horniest alien movie ever made.
Oh, it is
besides,
great.
Besides Species, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I'm like in love with every girl in the 80s club scene in this movie. Like,
for sure.
They're just everyone in the background. It's just like these are all 80s babes, like maxed out LA nightclub, like the finest.
Am I the only one that tries to figure out like how much they actually had to wax and shave these guys for them to look human?
Oh, that's all I thought about the whole time. She made a point of saying at one point, I started doing poodles, and that's why she was so good at turning them into hunks from these like furry Teletubby guys.
Well, thank God there was no scene where like the fur's growing back and they have to get reshaved every day.
That's all I thought about the whole movie. I'm like, how long is this gonna last?
I also sat there and went like, but they were like different colors, their skin.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
There's a lot of animals where you shave off their fur and they're different color.
But their face were different colors.
Yeah,
no fur.
I quote Mystery Science Theater 3000. If you're wondering how they eat and breathe and other science facts, just repeat to yourself, it's just a show, so just relax. Okay, like,
that's a beautiful line. Yeah,
I hate to interrupt this programming, but a little bit of breaking news has just come to my attention, and that news is the fact that one Sean Gold has entered the chat, my friends. So be prepared because he didn't just show up; he showed up with a pitch. And his pitch is Valerie returns to Earth with Mac to see how Earth has changed, but the ship gets damaged and lands in Ohio. Now Mitchell must help them avoid Ted and his preps. Man.
Nice.
Sean Gold, we're not even worthy, sir.
Just something.
Fantastic. It's just incredible as always. And his title, it's Air Girls Are Born. That is a spin on the Earth Girls Are Airborne we got before, but I love it.
Air Girls Are Born Easy.
Air Girls Are Born Easy. But so that, I think we've pitched a few versions of this that I would see. The musical one, we didn't really pitch because it's hard to really do that without it,
I mean, if all the songs were as good as that,
it's not a Broadway play.
It's not. I was just gonna say there could be a really cool stage play of.
I'm usually hate that, but I would be in favor of exploring that because it's in the DNA of this film. Seeing what like some great songwriters could do to fill it out with more songs and like sort of re-aim the story to be a little bit more musically compliant, I would be in favor of that 100%.
Julie Brown has a script like that.
So, I would love
if she did
to
a play,
find out.
Did a script for a stage version. That would be.
Well, she had an EP that was based on this, I guess.
I mean, if they really up there's again, the other couple of songs in this are kind of meh, but that one, the Blonde song is fantastic. And they got everything up to that quality that I would love to see this as like a Grease-esque, type of musical deal where it's like part musical, mostly plot, Is
that where she's breaking up with him? Like putting all of his trophies in the.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's not really a musical number. She's just singing.
Oh, that's a musical number. Yeah.
But she's not singing. That's
why.
Weird.
She's like supposed to be. They just picked a voice that really didn't match her, and the lip syncing is also not very great. But it's supposed to be a turn to camera singing.
Really, I got the impression that she was just singing along to like a record she had on. I didn't get that was a
before we go on singing all night. We are just about out of time, so it is that time of night where I ask you guys if you got anything coming up you want to let the people at home know about. And I see some silence, and I'm guessing, Ian might have something.
Well, yeah, I mean, please, the past couple weeks, B movie articles here on Fandom Spotlight for The Boneyard, film where you get to see Phyllis Diller without her wig and a monster dog, as well as Oh, what was the one that just posted?
A lot of people are asking who's Phyllis Diller. Look it up, kids. Look it up, kids.
Well, more to
but
be seen.
Prepare for coming out this week the my review on the classic film Werewolves on Wheels.
Love it. Love
Definitely stay tuned for that, guys.
Chris, I'm going to
And
pitch something real quick or whatever. I just want to say that if you missed it last week coming back, like I did, I couldn't be there on it, but I did go back and rewatch it. Go back and watch the clip show special.
Oh yes, please.
Yeah. A lot. Yeah.
The clips will get posted on their own soon, so you won't have to watch
go
the
back
whole
and
hour
watch
and
the
a
clip
half
show. It's fantastic, and everyone's in it.
Well,
Watch it in its
also,
entirety.
you Fandom fans might want to tune in next Wednesday at 9 p.m. for an as yet unplanned episode of VCR Redux. As always, if you enjoyed this video, the best way to help us is to smash that like button and leave a comment telling us what movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Fandom Spotlight, Crash Romeo, and Pop Culture Punk. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.
Whoop lock.